Vocabulary, topic culture. Cultural heritage. Cultural heritage. Preserving cultural heritage is essential for future generations. To explore cultural heritage. To preserve cultural heritage. Cultural identity. Cultural identity. Maintaining cultural identity helps communities stay connected to their roots. Preserve cultural identity, shape cultural identity, reinforce cultural identity, explore cultural identity, the loss or the erosion of cultural identity. Cultural diversity, or cultural richness. Cultural diversity enriches societies by introducing varied perspectives and practices. To promote, to enhance, to foster, or to encourage cultural diversity, to embrace cultural diversity. Cultural practices. Cultural practices. Different cultural practices are celebrated through various traditional festivals. To preserve, to maintain, or to follow cultural practices. To document cultural practices. Cultural tradition. Cultural tradition. Cultural traditions often reflect the history and values of a community. Cultural adaptation. Cultural adaptation. Cultural adaptation involves modifying practices to fit new cultural contexts. To accommodate to adapt to a, or to adjust to a new culture. Multiculturalism. Multiculturalism. Multiculturalism promotes the coexistence of diverse cultures within a single society. Cultural norms. Cultural norms. Cultural norms dictate what is considered acceptable behavior in a society. Cultural customs. Cultural customs. Cultural customs often include specific rituals and ceremonies. Cultural exchange. Cultural exchange. Cultural exchange programs foster mutual understanding between different cultures. Cultural artifacts. Cultural artifacts. Cultural artifacts offer valuable insights into the history and traditions of a people. Cultural assimilation. Cultural assimilation. Cultural assimilation occurs when individuals or groups adopt the cultural traits of another group. Cultural homogeneity, cultural uniformity, cultural conformity, cultural similarity.
Cultural representation. Cultural representation. Cultural representation in media can shape public perceptions of different societies. Cultural preservation. Cultural preservation. Cultural preservation efforts help maintain the authenticity of historical sites. Cultural preservation. Cultural preservation. Cultural preservation efforts help maintain the authenticity of historical sites. Cultural integration. Cultural integration. Cultural integration supports the blending of diverse cultural practices in a society. Acculturation. Acculturation. Acculturation is the process of cultural exchange and adaptation that occurs when different cultures come into contact. Melting pot society. Multicultural society. New Orleans is one of the great cultural melting pots of America. Intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Human towers, or castelles, were added to UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity in 2010.
To experience cultural festivals. Experiencing cultural festivals, like the Carnival in Brazil or Diwali in India, provides a deep insight into the traditions and values of these societies. To learn traditional crafts. Learning traditional crafts such as Japanese origami or Navajo weaving helps preserve ancient skills and connects us with historical artistry. To document oral histories. Documenting oral histories from elders in rural communities ensures that their unique experiences and stories are not lost to time. To explore culinary traditions.
Exploring culinary traditions by sampling dishes from different regions, like sushi from Japan or pasta from Italy, enriches our understanding of their cultural significance. To attend cultural performances. Attending cultural performances such as traditional ballet in Russia or flamenco dancing in Spain can offer a vivid portrayal of these countries' artistic heritage. 2. Study cultural symbolism. Studying cultural symbolism, such as the use of dragons in Chinese art or the lotus flower in Indian culture, reveals the deeper meanings and values that societies hold dear.
To promote intercultural dialogue. Promoting intercultural dialogue through international conferences and community events helps bridge gaps between diverse cultures and fosters mutual understanding. To investigate folklore and legends. Investigating folklore and legends, like the story of King Arthur in Britain or the myth of the Kappa in Japan, uncovers the rich tapestry of narratives that shape cultural identities. To understand social norms. Understanding social norms, such as the emphasis on punctuality in German culture or the value of family ties in Latin American societies, aids in navigating social interactions more effectively. To learn about cultural ceremonies. Learning about cultural ceremonies, like the Japanese tea ceremony or the Native American powwow, provides insight into the spiritual and communal aspects of these practices. To explore historical landmarks. Exploring historical landmarks such as the Great Wall of China or the ancient ruins of Machu Picchu offers a tangible connection to the past and highlights significant achievements of previous civilizations.